So we have the diagram here that Mike's going to talk a little bit about. This is looking at the G major scale.
And you all have this diagram available to you. It's in my music staff. That's where we're looking at
Exactly. So what we're looking at, just let me explain how this sheet works really quick. This is our scale here, right? G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. We're just throwing that A on the end, but it's really G to G to show you something in a second. So we've got G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, just like I played on the piano. So this is our one black key, or F sharp. G major is showing you the first, the third, and the fifth, which we just demonstrated. So these are the scale degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, our octave. So if you wanted to play a G5 chord, you're only playing the root, or your G, and the fifth of that. So it's not playing the third. It sounds a little more open. And on the guitar, that...
You have our G. G, and so all we need is the G and the D. So we have G. We're going to dampen our A string. Have our D there. So there's our root 5. If we can make it a little thicker, we have a G again. Then we place our third finger on the second string, third fret, for the D. And we want to mute the bottom string. That's the G5. Now if we want to make that a G chord, we just add the first finger to the B, which is the third. And then, I'll still keep this here. If we want to make a little more open sound, we take the third finger down to the first string, G, and then we added the open B string.
So it looks like on the guitar, you got all the same notes, and sometimes repeating some of those notes, but it's still exactly the same notes mixed together to make a chord. And sometimes they aren't even in the same order as the piano, right?
Right. So this diagram kind of just gives you a little bit of a reference of what all of that means when you're looking at the different names of the G chords. It's just based on different pieces of the G scale being utilized to make that chord.
Like a recipe.
Yeah.
It's a recipe.
That's actually a really good description.
So the recipe for a major chord is the 1, the 3, and the 5. The first, the third, and the fifth degree of the scale, or the first note, the third note, and the fifth note. Mm-hmm. But if we look on here for a fancier one, let's pick G major 7.
G major 7.
Yeah, it's got the first note, and the third note, and the fifth note, and the seventh note in the scale. And it's going to sound really different.
Yep, so we have our 1 is the G, have our 3, have our 5, or D, so 1, 3, 5, have our G again, have our B again. Now here comes the sharp 7 on the first string.
Right?
So if you want to make that let's say, if we want to make a G 6 chord, which is the E, we just take our finger off, and we have the E.
Right, because if you look at the chart, the E is the 6th note in the G major scale. Mm-hmm. Right? And what the G major 7 would look like on the piano, I'll use my own hand here because Deanna had to go teach. Here's your G chord, 1, 3, 5, and now we want to add the 7, and that is going to be the F sharp. Wow, that sounds the same. Look at that. So we take our theory that we see on the piano, and it helps us understand what we're doing on the guitar.
Right. It's kind of fun to do a normal G chord, G6, and then the G7. Now in the G7, if something happens to our major 7 note, we have to flat it. We just scoot our finger down to the F. And I have that sound.
And we learned when we looked at the piano that to make any note flat, you simply go one piano key to the left or one fret space lower.
Yeah. So
That's flat. If you want to make something sharp on a guitar, you go one fret space higher.
Yep.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we really need to cover. I mean, this was a lot.
We didn't cover the minor chord.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if
Right.
you want to do that now or.
Yeah. Well, it's on there. It's on the. So if we look, let's see, where is it? Okay, the very last chord down there at the bottom, where it says the 1, and then it says a 3, but there's a little B in front of it. B is the symbol that we use. It looks like a B to tell us that a note should be flat. And that's used in scored music, and it's also used when you're just, writing down the name of a chord. You can just put a little tiny B in front, and that means to make it flat. A little hashtag means to make it sharp. So that's the 1, the 3, and the 5, just like an ordinary major chord. But here's the piano again. Here's our major, G major, 1, 3, 5. But I'm going to move the 3, this guy here, and he's going to go one note low. So it'll sound like this instead. And here's what it sounds like on a guitar.
On the guitar's a little different. We're going to do more of a bar chord. So we get their 1, G, have our 5, D, have our 1 again for the octave. But now, instead of going to my B, which is right here, we're going to flat that B to make it minor, right?
Here's it, B flat.
Minor tune.
I don't know, it's close. I mean, they're getting the idea.
So that we had to flat the 3rd, which is B. So this is our B note. We flat that down to half step, and that's why we have to use a bar. Then here's D, this is the 5 again, this is G. Major with the minor.
And a lot of people describe these two chords, the differences, as being a happy and sad, or foreboding, or you can use a lot of different words, but the minor chord is not the guy you want to invite to your party. He's not the happy chord. He shows up in the sad songs. We also have minor keys. We've been talking all about major keys. There are minor keys. So when you hear that a song is played in a minor key, that's because they're using a minor scale, and the song will sound kind of sad or kind of moody or foreboding, depending on how the person wrote it. Right? But we'll cover more of that later. This turned out to be almost a 30-minute video.
Oh, nice.
And I think this will be very helpful. And then if you've watched this video and there were things that popped into your head that you wish we had mentioned, let us know. And we'll make another video. We'll do another one next week after class. And we'll try to fill in any spots that we missed on this one.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Mike.